This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
You've spent years building your business, but do you have a plan on how to turn that asset into retirement income? Today, we are diving into part 2 of our exit planning series. If you missed part 1, go back and give it a listen so you can catch up and then come back to this one. But if you're a business owner, you don't want to miss this. You're listening to the Retirement Bullpen with our host, Richard Warner. Richard is an investment advisor representative, certified exit planning advisor, retirement income certified professional. Oh, and he also happens to own Warner Financial Solutions. You can learn more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Richard, I'm starting to think you're just adding certifications to see how long to make the intro for me. Is that the plan?
It is. I've actually got another one I'm working on. So I want it so long that you have to spend 2 minutes at the front. No, I'm just teasing.
Okay, perfect. I'll start doing my vocal exercises.
Certifications just make me sharper at what I do. Let's put it that way.
Of course. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know.
Last time we talked about exit planning when it comes to entrepreneurs and business owners. And I told you then, and I'll reiterate it now for those just tuning in, this hits home for me because my dad is an entrepreneur. He's a veterinarian in rural Maine. And this isn't something that is taught. Let's be honest. You know, when you go into being an entrepreneur, you think I'm just going to work this business. It's going to be successful. And at the end, I'm going to retire and I'll live off whatever I sell it for. But it's not that black and white, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. They don't teach anything about selling your business. Even in entrepreneur classes, it's just something that a lot of business owners don't know what to do, how to do. They have an assumption, which is a fair assumption. Mm-hmm. Their business is valuable to them, that it should be valuable to somebody else. Most times, as we said last time, about 80% of the time, it's not that valuable as they think to somebody else. And sometimes it's not valuable at all. They might want the real estate and the inventory, and that is it. No intrinsic value. And we want to take people through a process that really helps them build that value for now, but also for later. And it's something that doesn't start a year out. It's something that needs to be started 3, 5, maybe 10 years out, depending upon your situation and what you're wanting to accomplish.
So what does that plan look like? We know we need to be starting it. What's the first step? So
there's 3 core areas. And so the Exit Planning Institute calls it 3 legs of a stool. If you can imagine sitting on a stool, we'll say you're a dairy farmer, you're a business owner, and you used to, probably don't do this much anymore, but you used to have to sit on that stool with the little pail and milk the cow.
I'm picturing my grandfather as we speak.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if one of those legs is shorter or not there, stool's not going to work very well. And the same principle applies here in getting your business ready. So the first thing is business readiness. Is your business ready? What is the value? Do you even know? Very few owners have a real formal evaluation. They have a perception in their mind. What is your operations like? Will your operations transfer over to a new owner? Good question I like to ask. If you step away from your business for a month, is it going to keep on clicking like clockwork, or is it going to come to a screeching halt? If it's slowing down or coming to a halt, you probably don't have a very transferable business. So we can take people through a process, and we call it a business readiness score. Where do you rank in that area? It gives you a good feedback of where you're at and where you need to be. Second area is financial readiness. Okay. What is your business right now actually going to sell for? And how does that number fit your specific retirement income need? So if you sold that business today, could you retire off of it? Because you got to remember, when you walk out of the door of that business for the last time, you're probably not getting much of a paycheck unless you have a structured deal where you get paid out over time. But eventually that structured deal is going to end as well.
Sure.
So you have to have a financial plan to live off the proceeds of the business, because most business owners have most of their net worth tied up in that business and don't have a lot on the side. So how are you going to make that all work? The final piece is the one most people forget, and that is your personal readiness. You have spent, as a business owner, 10, 20, 30, or 40 years, probably in most cases, living, working. In many cases, this has been your hobby. You have done this for your entire life. You've skipped all sorts of things to make this business work. You walk through those doors for the last time, you're going to have a whole brand new open calendar that you've never had before. What are you going to do with that time? If you have no idea, you're probably not ready to sell the business personally. So that process we would take you through will help you assess where your business is, help it get to the point where it needs to be, help it get to the point that provides you the funds that you need to retire. But then on a personal side, help you develop a plan. What are you going to do with your time? That all builds into how you want to sell the deal, all that sort of thing, and how you want to make this transition from being a full business owner to maybe a part-time business owner, maybe a advisor on the side to the business. I've seen that scenario. Or maybe you just want to walk away because you've got all sorts of things you've always wanted to do and you'll fill your time. And that is the case for some people. That is it. But a lot of people, it's not. So planning is important so that we don't take that stool and make it all wobbly, because what happens, a lot of business owners wish they hadn't sold, specifically because of the last one, because they weren't personally ready.
You mentioned valuing your business, and we talked a little bit in the last episode about there's a gap between perceived value and actual value. So can you give us a little breakdown on what it really means to have a business valuation and know what your company is worth?
It's really not much different than, let's say you're selling your house. If you're selling your house, you're going to bring a realtor in and they're going to assess the value they believe your house is going to sell in the marketplace. Are you going to get exactly that? It depends upon a lot of factors. Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less. But in most cases, it's probably within a general realm of that. The same process applies, but again, it's more complicated. And there's simple versions, there's complicated versions. Obviously, the bigger the business, the more complicated, the more expensive it can get. But valuations can cost. Valuation can also be very inexpensive or sometimes no cost, depending upon the situation. But it's really simply put a process, and it's different for every business, a process where we would bring in an expert. And that's part of our role, is connecting you with that expert. We would bring in an expert that would help assess, this is your strengths, this is your weaknesses, this is what we think your value of your business could be. Because what it boils down to is it's your revenue in a lot of cases. There's this formula called EBITDA. I won't break that down because of time. It takes a lot of time just to talk about EBITDA. But there's this formula called EBITDA that really determines the value of your business times a multiple. So a multiple means if you're generating X amount of EBITDA, let's just say your EBITDA is $1 million a year. Well, that number could be taken times a multiple. That multiple could be 2. That multiple could be 6, 8, 10, depending upon the industry you're in, depending upon the systems you put in place. The more transferable your business is to a new owner, the more multiples you're going to get. So if you spend a few years building those multiples up by building that intrinsic value in your business, maybe that $1 million EBITDA that would only sell for $2 million could 5 years down the road sell for an 8 multiple, which means now it's going to sell for $8 million. Significantly different number to generate retirement income off of than $2 million. Now, $2 million might be enough for some people. It just depends upon. So that's why all 3 legs of those stool are important, because if you want out and you can get what you need, it could make sense to go quicker, but maybe you're not ready to go. So let's build value for a while. And also maybe let's try to make your business a place you enjoy to come to more for you and your employees during that. So maybe you never want to leave, because some people don't. But if you need to or have to at some point, then you can. So again, this process is not just about selling your business. It's also about, how can I get more out of it now, enjoy it more now, maybe pass on a better legacy to my community. Maybe my family's involved and I don't want to step away till I have to. There's all kinds of factors involved. So the whole process is understanding all 3 legs of that stool, helping you then determine that value and what strategy to increase that value makes the most sense specific to you in your situation.
But that's where someone like yourself comes in as a certified exit planner to come in and help analyze that, to go, here's what we need to grow your valuation. You need better systems in this particular area. There's weaknesses over here, but if we spend the next year or two solidifying that, it could be exponential in the value when it comes to selling. That's sort of the role that you play. You're looking at it from the 30,000-foot view,
exactly,
without the emotional attachment of having poured the blood, sweat, and tears for the last, however many decades into this business. You're looking at the numbers, which is how a potential buyer would be looking at it. And so you're helping make sure the numbers make sense so that you can get the most bang for the buck, if you will.
Exactly. So part of the role of a CEPA, Certified Exit Planning Advisor, is to put a team together and connect the owner with entities that can help the owner do exactly that. Because a lot of times what you see is the business is tied or married to the owner. It won't function well without the owner. Mm-hmm. So by building a management team, building a source of recurring revenue, start documenting different things. So for example, maybe you're a restaurant and you have a secret recipe that everybody loves, and that's why they come. How's a new owner verify that they're going to get that benefit? So there's some documentation that's involved. That kind of fits that secret sauce mentality, if you will. What makes that business more attractive to a potential buyer? There's got to be something that the new owner's seeing that's going to keep customers coming in before they're going to be willing to invest 7 to 8 figure sums or sometimes more into a business that they can't guarantee that it's going to generate the same revenue. So they've got to see as much evidence as possible. And so that exit planning process helps you put together that evidence, and then where you're weak, improve that area so that now I have evidence that the new owner can take over this business and generate some income from it just like they would perceive.
One of the, I think, big surprises, and an unpleasant one at that, is the tax situation that's waiting at the end of selling a business. It's not as simple, again, as just, I'm going to sell this business and I'm going to make, $2 million and I take it and I run. Uncle Sam has to get involved. Talk to me a little bit about the tax planning part of selling a business and what your role there would be.
The first thing most people need to understand is the tax planning part needs to begin before you start structuring the sale. A lot of people say, well, I got this $10 million check for my business. Now, what do I put it in to get rid of the taxes? It's too late. So in that scenario, you received a $10,000 check. Maybe your cost basis in that business is $1 million. Well, you have a capital gain of $9 million. You're giving approximately $3 million of that back to Uncle Sam, give or take. Just a rough estimate. It's usually pretty close to that.
Sure.
Again, current tax law. So how do we avoid that? Well, we've got to structure that in the front end. Okay. There's all sorts of strategies. A couple common ones are you can use a structured sale. This works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't, depending upon your situation. A deferred sales trust can allow you to basically push that tax down the road and take withdrawals as you need it from the trust to generate income. And there's deals you can work out with the new buyer that maybe they pay you over time, which lowers down the cost of your tax bill. The end goal of whatever is done needs to be built in the front end, though, because once you've received the payout, it's too late to go back and change that. And those tax bills can eat a lot of your principal away, which is what causes a lot of people to pause and say, I don't even want to sell because I'm going to sell it for this, but I'm giving this much away to the IRS. By structuring it correctly, you can avoid those taxes. Now, you're going to pay tax on that money at some point, but you can at least spread it out and reduce the overall amount you pay.
I think the best imagery for, you said somebody's showing up with a $10 million check and saying, what now? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
No, you can't.
If you've ever tried, it does not go back in the tube.
It doesn't work at all.
So planning ahead is part of it. What do you see the biggest mistakes? I know the number one is going to be lack of planning. What additional mistakes do you see business owners making when it comes to this big transition?
They wait too long. And they wait too long because they think the business is going to sell easily. And they overestimate what they're going to get because, again, it's their baby. they're getting this. They think multiples should be this. I'm generating this much EBITDA, because a lot of them know these things, these technical terms, but they don't necessarily know how to determine what a new buyer or a potential buyer is going to give them in those situations. So not understanding your true market value and really not building a team. Even when you do start early, most business owners will admit, yes, I'm interested. I need to build a team. They just don't do it because they think it's going to take too much time. It's going to cost too much money. A good team of advisors around you to make this transition will save you so much more money in taxes and increase how much you get out of it. You'll feel like they were all free plus some. So planning in advance is important. And then the last one, which I think very few get, is what are you going to do when you're done? What is your time after going to look like? Because that's where the biggest regrets come in, is they step away and they haven't planned that out, and now they wish they hadn't sold, and they're bored, or they feel a lack of purpose in their life. And no, we don't want anybody to go through that.
So you read a statistic such as 78% of people who are business owners lack a formal transition team. So I'll ask the question that I think prevents a lot of people from having a team, and that's, how does the team get paid?
It varies on person to person. So part of your team, in my opinion, should be a CEPA, a Certified Exit Planning Advisor. They have specific training and knowledge in this process to connect you with the right people. They're not going to do it all. For example, if you're looking to reduce risk in your business, your CEPA is not going to do that for you. They're going to bring somebody in, but that might be somebody that doesn't cost you hardly anything compared to what they're doing. If you're wanting to build value, a lot of times you're going to work with these people to help you build value. They're going to work with your team. They're going to train your employees. They're going to help build that value for you. They're going to cost, you're going to pay them money. You're talking about your CPA, your attorney. Is your current CPA, is your current attorney trained in this particular area, or have they just been your friend throughout your life and you knew them, and so you've done your law business and your tax business with these people? Do they have knowledge and ability to help you in this process? Because you've been paying them for years.
Sure.
But are they helping you in the way they should? Not that they can't, but they just might not know or be trained in that way. And so a CEPA's job is really, how do we connect the people that you need to help do this? And it's going to cost some money. Sometimes it's really expensive. I'm not going to lie. It's sometimes, to build value in a business, it's extremely expensive. Sometimes it's not. It just depends upon the situation. Obviously, the smaller business, the less the cost. The bigger the business, the more the cost, because there's more moving pieces and the bigger team you will need to make this happen.
Sure. I want to close it out again, because I said this topic was a personal one to me. Somebody who lives in a rural area, and obviously you're familiar with it as well, what special considerations do they need to have? Because they're not in a Boston or an Atlanta or, a large population where perhaps selling a business may be easier. If you're in a rural Maine or Nebraska, what do you have to think about above and beyond somebody perhaps in a larger metro area?
I think you have to start that much sooner, because you have less potential buyers. You have more potential buyers in Omaha. You have more potential buyers in Atlanta, in New York City, in Los Angeles. But you also have more potential of getting a lowball offer in that scenario as well. You may have all kinds of offers, but they might not be what you should be getting. Where in a rural area, you're probably not going to have all those offers. So how do people even know you're wanting to get rid of it? Where are you going to find that person to fit what you're doing? A lot of business owners today aren't looking to own a business. And I think this also is a misconception too. New business owners aren't looking to run a business. They're looking to invest and own. Kind of like, I bought some rental properties and I generate rental income, and I have a manager or maintenance person that takes care of them. They're investing in them. They're not running them. So a lot of your small town business owners think somebody just like me is going to come around and they're just going to want to take over my business and they're going to buy it from me. And that's actually not usually the case. It's usually an outside investor that wants hands off. He wants the business to continue, or she wants the business to continue. They just want to invest in the business so it will return them a profit. And they might do this in 6 or 7 different areas to diversify their portfolio. So understand that that is the marketplace today, really.
Sure.
More people want to get paid generate revenue off their investment, less people want to put in the sweat equity like you did as a business owner for the last 30 or 40 years. It's just the reality of our society. So you've got to structure your situation to go find that buyer.
And make it appealing and make sure you have the systems in place so you could potentially attract that kind of buyer.
Exactly.
Well, if you're thinking about turning your life's work into a retirement strategy, now is the time to start planning your exit. And you need to do so with intention and guidance. And if you're looking to start a conversation about your individual situation, you can schedule a complimentary consultation with Richard today by visiting warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Again, that's warnerfinancialsolutions.com. And of course, we'd love it if you shared this episode with a friend, and be sure to subscribe wherever you're currently listening so you never miss a future show. Thanks so much for joining us, and come back again soon.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial.